Inner dialogue, questions and answers to transform your perception. Have you ever felt like your mind is playing tricks on you? Like a little inner voice filling you with doubts, fears, or insecurities? Our brain is incredible, a perfect machine designed to solve problems and protect us. But sometimes, that protection turns against us. It gets stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, magnifying worries, or distorting reality. But what if I told you we can tame that little voice? That we can learn to have a dialogue with our mind and transform our perception of reality? It's not about denying problems, but about facing them from a more constructive and serene perspective. We will learn to ask the right questions to challenge our automatic thoughts and discover new solutions. Are you ready to begin? We begin with a fundamental question. Is what I'm thinking true? And no, it's not about doubting everything, but about questioning those statements we make to ourselves, especially the negative ones, the ones that fill us with anxiety, frustration, or sadness. Let's imagine for a moment. You're at home, you see the pile of dirty dishes and think, "This is unbelievable. They don't do anything around the house." That little voice full of reproach gives you a feeling of unfairness and anger. But is it really true? Stop for a moment. Breathe. Analyze the situation from a place of calm. Do they really do nothing? Never? They may not help with the dishes, that's true. But maybe they take care of the grocery shopping, take out the trash, or surprise you with a delicious breakfast every morning. Sometimes, our mind focuses on the negative, on what's missing, and forgets the positive. By asking ourselves, is what I'm thinking true? We force our brain to get out of that loop of negativity and observe reality from a more complete and fair perspective. And in many cases, what we consider absolute truth is nothing more than a subjective interpretation of reality, influenced by our emotions, past experiences, or limiting beliefs. So, before letting yourself get carried away by the whirlwind of automatic thoughts, stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this really true? Am I seeing the whole picture, or am I getting carried away by just one part? I assure you that this simple question, applied with awareness and sincerity, has the power to transform your perception and help you build healthier and more positive relationships. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are much more than that. You have the power to choose what to focus on, what questions you ask yourself, and how you interpret reality. Let's imagine for a moment that the answer to that question is yes. It's time to face our fears, to look that possibility that scares us so much right in the face. And for that, there's nothing better than asking ourselves, if it were true, what's the worst that could happen? I know it may seem terrifying, but I assure you that this exercise has incredible liberating power. By visualizing the worst possible scenario, however catastrophic it may seem, we realize that, in most cases, we can handle it. Let's go back to the previous example. If it's true that your partner doesn't help around the house, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe living together becomes unbearable, arguments increase, or even a separation is considered. It sounds terrifying, I know. But facing that fear, putting it into words, allows us to approach it from a place of calm and rationality. It's no longer an invisible monster lurking, but a possibility that, although unpleasant, we can face. And not only that, by visualizing the worst-case scenario, we can also start preparing for it. We stop being victims of our thoughts and become protagonists of our own story. Remember, fear only has the power we give it. We have questioned our thoughts, we have looked our fears in the face, and now it's time to take action. If, after carefully analyzing the situation, we realize that our perception doesn't completely match reality, it's time to ask ourselves, if it's not true, how can I change what's happening? This question invites us to take the reins of our life, to stop being mere spectators, and become agents of change. It's no longer about blaming others, complaining about what we don't have, or resigning ourselves to a reality that doesn't satisfy us. It's about taking responsibility and looking for solutions. In the example of the couple who doesn't collaborate at home, if we discover that our perception was distorted by tiredness or frustration, it's time to look for ways to improve the situation. What can we do to encourage greater collaboration? Instead of constantly reproaching, we can try to express our needs assertively. We can sit down with our partner and talk openly about how we feel, what we expect from each other, and how we can divide tasks more fairly. We can also use creativity and look for original solutions that adapt to our needs and routines. Maybe we can establish a weekly calendar with assigned tasks, use a mobile app to remember responsibilities, or simply dedicate one day a week to tidying and cleaning the house together. The important thing is not to stand idly by. If we don't like something, if we want something to change, we have to move, act, look for solutions. We arrive at the last question of this journey of self-knowledge and transformation. How can I actively contribute to preventing the worst from happening? We have already questioned our thoughts, faced our fears, and looked for solutions to improve our reality. Now is the time to take control and act proactively to prevent those fears from materializing. This question invites us to be aware of our personal power, of our ability to influence the course of events. It's not about living in fear, but about acting with responsibility and determination to build the life we want. In the example of the couple, if our fear is that the lack of collaboration will end the relationship, we can ask ourselves, what can I do to prevent this? And here, the answers can be very varied. We can propose a joint action plan to improve communication and the distribution of tasks. We can be more understanding and patient with our partner, taking into account their own needs and limitations. We can surprise them with small gestures of affection and gratitude for their effort. Or simply, we can spend more time enjoying each other's company, strengthening the bonds that unite us. The important thing is not to stand idly by, waiting for things to resolve themselves. We have to be protagonists of our own story and fight for what really matters to us. As we have seen throughout this video, inner dialogue is a powerful tool to transform our perception of reality and build a more fulfilling and happy life. By training our mind with the right questions, we can reprogram automatic responses, calm that inner alarm voice that generates stress, and take control of our emotions. This exercise allows us to face conflicts with greater serenity, find healthier solutions, and build stronger and more positive relationships. It's not about denying problems or living in a fantasy world, but about approaching them from a more constructive and hopeful perspective. I invite you to put these questions into practice in your daily life. Think of a situation in your life that causes you stress or discomfort. This habit, practiced consistently, can help you transform the way you face daily challenges, establishing a healthier relationship with yourself and with others.